There's a moment early in Frieren, beyond Journey's End, where nothing really happens. The hero's party has already saved the world. The Demon King is dead. The credits in any other show would already be rolling. But Frieren doesn't open with a victory. It opens with an ending. And then it asks a question almost no other fantasy anime bothers to ask. What happens to everyone left standing after the story is supposed to be over? That question is the entire engine of this show, and it's why Frieren gets away with something most anime can't. Being slow. Painfully, deliberately slow. And I want to make the case that this isn't a flaw you have to forgive. It's the single smartest choice the show makes. Let's start with the obvious comparison, because if you've watched any long-running shonen, you already know the pattern. A character shows up, and 3 episodes later you get their entire tragic backstory. Dead parents, a betrayal, a village burned to the ground. Delivered in one dense flashback dump so the show can justify why you should care about them right now. In this fight, in this arc. One Piece is the biggest example of this, and I say that as someone who loves One Piece. It has some of the best backstories in anime. But it also has a pattern of stopping the plot completely to deliver them, sometimes for 5 or 6 episodes straight, before snapping back to the present. It works because Oda is a phenomenal storyteller, but it's also a lot. The emotional peaks come in these huge, exhausting spikes. Frieren does the opposite. It almost never stops to explain itself. Backstory doesn't arrive as an event. It leaks in. Through a offhand comment, a single flashback that lasts 20 seconds, a look on Frieren's face that the show doesn't explain because it trusts you to have been paying attention. And that trust is the whole trick. By the time you understand why a moment matters, you've already felt that it matters. The emotional work happens before the explanation does, not after. Nowhere is that clearer than with Himmel. Himmel is the hero. The actual hero. The one who led the party that defeated the Demon King. The one whose name gets statues built in his honor. The one every younger character in this story grew up idolizing. And he's dead before the first episode is even finished. You get maybe a few minutes of him alive on screen in the present timeline. That's it. That's all the show gives you directly. And yet Himmel ends up being the emotional core of the entire series. Not because the show tells you he was great, because it shows you in fragments spread across dozens of episodes in the smallest possible doses. A memory of him insisting they take a detour to see a meteor shower for no reason except that it might be beautiful. A memory of him always volunteering to be the one who steps forward first, even in situations that clearly scare him. None of these moments are framed as important when they happen. There's no swelling music cue telling you, this is the sad part. The show just lets them sit there. What that does over time is turn Himmel into a presence instead of a character. Frieren spends the whole series slowly, quietly catching up to a feeling the audience has already picked up on. That this man mattered enormously, and that she didn't understand how much until it was too late to tell him. That's not a backstory dump. That's grief built in real time, at the pace grief actually moves. And that's the deeper reason the slow pacing works. Frieren isn't just a show about elves and magic and journeys. It's a show about time, about how impossibly long an elf's life is compared to a human's, and about how little that time is worth if you spend it not paying attention to the people in front of you. A show about that theme has to be slow. If Frieren rushed through its quiet moments the way other fantasy shows rush through downtime to get to the next fight, the entire point would collapse. The pacing isn't just a style choice. It's the argument the show is making, acted out in real time. Compare that to how a lot of anime handle mortality and loss. As plot fuel. A character dies, there's one big emotional episode, everyone cries, and then the story moves on because there's a new arc to get to. Frieren refuses to let go that easily. Himmel is gone in episode 1, and the show is still bringing him up, still finding new small things to reveal about him. Dozens of episodes later. It doesn't move on because the character at the center of the story hasn't moved on either. And honestly, neither has the audience by that point. This is also, I think, why Frieren feels so rewatchable in a way a lot of big anime doesn't. Shows built on spectacle and huge story beats tend to lose something on a second watch, because you already know what's coming. Frieren gets better on a rewatch because the first time through, you don't know which small throwaway moment is going to matter 3 episodes later. You go back and suddenly that 20-second flashback about a meteor shower means something completely different. So when people say Frieren is slow, I don't think that's actually a criticism, even when it's meant as one. It's slow the way sitting with someone in silence can be slow. It's not empty. It's just not in a hurry to prove anything to you. And in a genre that's constantly asking you to be impressed, bigger fights, bigger power-ups, bigger tragedies, there's something almost radical about a show that just asks you to pay attention instead. That's Frieren's real backstory trick. It doesn't build big moments. It builds small ones and then trusts that you'll remember them later, when they suddenly matter. Himmel never gets a dramatic death scene, a final speech, a last stand. He just gets remembered, over and over, in pieces, by someone who's going to be alive long enough to make sure he never really disappears. If you haven't watched Frieren yet, that's genuinely the best way I can describe why it's worth your time. It's not a show that hits you all at once, it's a show that adds up.